Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here, and I'm reading today from John chapter 11, parts of verses 33 to 36. This is from the story of the death and raising of Lazarus. When Jesus saw Mary weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved Lazarus?" This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. We have several stories about Jesus and Mary and Martha and Lazarus, and it adds to kind of a fullness of the picture we have of Jesus in various kinds of relationships with people. Jesus, of course, had the 12 disciples that he was very close to, traveling companions with, teacher of, rabbi of, and so much more. And we have pictures of Jesus with crowds and with adversaries. We have pictures of Jesus connecting with people for just moments in time, and then relationships that he had over longer periods of time. But with Mary and Martha and Lazarus, we have another layer, I think. And we might look at their relationships and see familial kind of relationships. They weren't related by blood as far as we know, but they were kind of sibling relationships. It seemed that their house, their place was a place that he could rest, that it was a place of home and shelter for him. It was a place where he could be himself, perhaps. And I suspect they could be themselves with him in some pretty profound ways. We all need places like this, right? We all need relationships like this. And I think many of us long for these kinds of relationships in profound ways. Some of us have them, and we are so grateful, and we've nurtured them, or circumstances have led us to be able to have these kind of flourishing relationships. But I know that many of us struggle to battle loneliness, struggle to feel like we belong in those deeper ways that feel deeply connected with others, places where we can be people with whom we can truly be our authentic selves, and people who can be our companions for our souls. Right? We have many different kinds of relationships in our lives too. And over the next month, we're starting a new series called Soul Companions. We're going to be talking about this particular kind of relationship that is called spiritual friendship. And while these can look very different, right? We can all have spiritual friendships and they can look 1,000 different ways. We're inviting you, all of us, to be mindful of our particular people, the particular people in our lives who help us on this journey of faith, who help us to love ourselves the way and see ourselves the way God sees us, that help us to see our giftedness and our belovedness, and help us to live our life of faith and discipleship out in the world in ways that we just can't do on our own. And so we're going to be talking about soul companions, and these may be people who are our best friends, really good friends, and we may have them in our lives yet, and we may not yet. But they also might be people who are connected to us, who may not be best friends or who know every detail of our lives, but who companion us in a particular way. Ways that we have that hopefully are mutual, ways that invite us to be our more authentic, unique, beautiful selves, but connected to other people and living, flourishing, existing in this world in these beautiful ways. Hopefully, these kind of spiritual friendships that we're talking about, even if they are not people that we see day to day or are that best friend kind of space with, they could be, but they are meant though still to help us to take care of part of that loneliness that so many of us feel. That they connect us with other people in ways that help us go, oh, I'm not alone. I am seen, I am known, I see another person, and I get to tend to them too. And I am tended to, and maybe not always in one person, but it's one part, right, of a much bigger whole. We cannot live as human beings alone or apart, and we certainly cannot be Christian followers of Jesus without others as well. So over these next few weeks, this is what we're going to be talking about, soul companions. And this coming Sunday, it is our first week of this series. Pastor Taylor's going to be preaching. It's also All Saints Sunday. And what a beautiful way to start this out is with our cloud of witnesses, those people that perhaps have been and are still our soul companions, some spiritual friends who, but are not in this realm with us anymore. I don't know about you, but some of my dearest spiritual friends have actually passed away. They have gone on to be part of that cloud of witnesses, that community of saints. And I do still feel very connected to them and companioned by them. And this is the day that we get to celebrate them and us and our ongoing connection with them, and the hope and the trust and the faith that we too are part of that communion of saints as well. So Pastor Taylor is going to dive more deeply into this passage and invite us into an imagination around what it might be to cultivate spiritual friendships, soul companions, people on this journey. And even if we already have these people, there are ways that we can be even more intentional. And there are ways that we can help continue to foster a community of people where this is more of a norm, right? More of a thing that we just cultivate here amongst us, that we are ready and seeking to create places where we can be spiritual friends, soul companions with one another. So we're going to be giving you some little some invitations and some encouragement and a few tools for our toolbox to help us with this along the way. Again, we will celebrate All Saints Sunday this coming Sunday, and we will be naming aloud in worship people that have gone before us. So you're welcome to bring those names with you. And a reminder too about, as we continue to wrap up our pledge campaign, if you have not already made a pledge this pledge season, I encourage you to do that. You should have received a pledge packet in the mail. If you didn't, you can let us know. You can also go to the giving page on our website, princetonumc.org/worship, and find there many of the materials that were there in that pledge packet, including the video that we showed after worship a couple of Sundays ago. I want to also remind you that every gift counts. Your gift counts. And we have a kingdom-sized big goal for this pledge season. We need to increase giving by $45,000 ongoing. So not just a one-time $45,000, but we need to increase the giving of our church overall. And going forward, for us to maintain the levels of programming and staffing that we currently have. And you count in that, you matter in that, you are part of us moving toward that goal. Tiny seeds do make a great harvest. So even if you're giving $10 a week or $100 a month, that makes a difference. And even if that's more than you can handle right now, that's fine. Do something and help us continue to glorify God in these ways as disciples of Jesus in this particular corner of the world called Princeton, New Jersey. Friends, it is always a joy to be on this journey with you, to be your pastor, to connect with you and walk with you. And remember that you are enough because God is enough. Remember that you are created for joy, and it is a beautiful thing when we all come together as our unique selves that God has made, and we flourish in this place and time. I will see you very soon. Take care.